camp is complete, and I think you're not going to get much on the first day, especially people not really going to OTAs. Not everyone had OTAs, but it was a long time, 2 months after the guys were together at One Bills Drive, and then they go to training camp today, which is a Wednesday, starts later than usual. And it's not really a great day outside. It's pouring most of the day, so that kind of sucked. Can't really see much, can't really, you can still grade people and see how they do. Like, you want to see how Keon Coleman does and where he's playing, and that's something you did see today. He was, the thing was, he did drop the first pass that was thrown to him, but the thing was, it was the first pass of practice. So that would tell you that he was running with the first team. So that kind of goes to show that Joe Brady was staying true to himself in some sort of way, saying that he would be the best coach for Keon Coleman. And we're not gonna, like I said, we're not gonna say much or see much on the first day, but it is good to see he is getting reps with the first team. Even though he did get the drop, he did get a nice catch on the second one. And he was running punt return. He was like the main punt returner that people were saying today, or at least like the first one out on punt return. So that'll be interesting to see if they use him in like different ways or how they use him. I don't think he's going to be too much in the slot. I think he's a fine receiver on the outside. He really just needs to get to practice on time and not show up late. And if he cleans up some discipline stuff like that, I feel like he's a great player and we don't really have to worry about him much. He was the third targeted dude on the team. He has I don't have stats in front of me right now. I think he has the most touchdowns or close to the most touchdowns on the team. Missed plenty of games. It'll be interesting to see. What will Joe Brady coaching style be like as a head coach? How is he going to deal with not just being on the offensive side of the ball? How will the defensive players, how will they answer to him? How will they answer to an offensive coach who was a first-time head coach? And, we've been seeing some stuff in the past 2 days with the C.J. Gardner-Johnson live stream where people kind of took it a little bit too far, and it didn't really need to be. They said that Joe Brady told him that he needed to end the live stream, and that never really happened. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson went live after practice today, and he was kind of fired up. It kind of didn't seem like he was in a right headspace. He wanted to see what the difference was between if he thinks that the coach wants him as a player, or just only as a player, only cares for him as a player, or cares for him as a person too, which it'll be interesting to see because that's the type of coach McDermott was, but I don't know if C.J. Gardner-Johnson would be a guy that he would have signed. The thing is, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is 28 years old. He's still young, athletic, led the league in interceptions at one point. He's top 5 or top 10 active interception list right now. Dude, he can fly around, and if you pair him up with Cole Bishop and then Jalen Kilgore and the nickel and the big nickel, that'd be a pretty fun look, but you got to try to keep him happy as much as you can. He's kind of somewhat like Diggs, where he's outgoing, which isn't bad at all. You shouldn't be hating on a player just because they're not afraid to speak what they're thinking, and sometimes it's not what you agree with or you don't really want some of your players to say, but they are human and they are allowed to speak their mind. Yes, they do have a platform that reaches more people, and more people then, will see that, but if it's what they think, it's what they think, and you can't really do anything about that after that, because it's their thoughts, it's not your thoughts. So if you have something you don't like, you kind of just gotta let it go, and that's kind of where people don't understand stuff. Like, hey, you're not always gonna hear things you like, see things you like, but you're just gonna have to deal with it because this is a person that's gonna be on our team hopefully for this year, and hopefully we re-sign him after that if he has a good year. And and we'll see after that. Also, they talked about Alec Anderson being left guard today, which kind of wasn't a surprise, or starting left guard after losing Bates. So it'll be interesting to see. Or I'm sorry, Bates. David Edwards. So it'll be interesting to see how he does on Deion Dawkins' side. If Deion Dawkins still stays wide as much as he did with David Edwards on the ball and pass protection, even though I think him talking about him being on that, like, giving up that space didn't really help him as much because people were cognizant of it and they were ready to attack him in that. And they studied film and like, hey, he talks about this. He's going to stand a little bit wider. He trusts himself to go one-on-one. And that's when you see schemes go his way. And you see in the Houston game, he just gets bullied because Will Anderson can beat him with speed around the edge. And there's not always players that you're going to see every day that you can beat. But, I mean, I have faith in the line. It'll be interesting to see how they do. What will the Jim Leonard defense be like? How much pressure do we see? We're still going to see a traditional, not traditional, but we're going to see like 4 or 5 down linemen, and we're going to see a lot of action there. We're going to see, he said today that it was Carter, Ed Oliver, TJ Sanders, and then on the edges it was Groot and Bradley Chubb. What kind of pressure do they build? Do they rotate as much as the McDermott defense did? I don't think they will, but it'll be interesting because they have still a lot of defensive linemen who would probably need to see action, like Deion Walker and Michael Hoyt and TJ Parker. So maybe we'll see some of that rotation. It'll be interesting. Like I said, it was the first day. You're not going to get much out of the first day. You're not going to get much out of when it's just helmets, no shoulder pads, no pad, no legs. It's only shells, so it'll be interesting. I think a lot of people were pretty happy with the video that came out with the Bills, and they had the DJ Moore catch. That was like the only video that came out of practice today, and everyone was hyped up off of that. Woohoo, you know. Our new wide receiver 1 and QB, Josh Allen, they connect on a route on air, so that's always fun. You're always going to be excited about that, Yeah, people are wrong with that, but it's okay. Some people love it, some people hate it, but some people want to just get to the games, which is kind of like me. We kind of want to see what the team looks like in preseason and in practice with the pads on, and you're not going to get much, like I said, with just no uppers, no lowers, just helmets. But it was the first day of practice, which you got to be happy with. Only one player on the PUP to start the season, Tyrell Shavers, who tore his ACL last season. So that's good. I mean, dude, Bills are usually injury riddled to start the season or in camp, which, knock on wood, still has a chance to happen. He only had one practice, a lot of reps still to be had, so you just hope everyone stays healthy for the time being, and hopefully the injury list stays low. Dorian Williams dislocated his knee in OTAs this offseason, and he was healthy, so that's good to see. I know there are a lot of questions about who's going to be that starting middle with Bernard this season, either Dorian Williams or Caleb Elar Orr. So that'll be interesting to see because the linebackers kind of been our weak spot the past couple of years, and our run defense has really sucked. And if we're going to want anything in the run defense, we're going to need really good linebackers and a lot of help for Terrell Bernard, because he's not really the linebacker who's going to be an offensive lineman who is coming at him. He's going to need a linebacker next to him who will be like the main attraction or the main guy, the Mike. He will be the Mike that they call out and they'll block, identify, and go towards, and Bernard can then be like the off-ball, quote-unquote, off-ball linebacker in that case. But it'll be interesting. I know a lot of people have been excited about the Caleb Elam from TCU. I honestly don't know much about him, But Jim Leonard said the good things about him, and he drafted. Chris Trapasso liked him coming out of the draft, and it'll be interesting to see. I know I said it'll be interesting to see a lot, but it will be interesting to see because we don't know shit right now. We really don't know shit, so it's like, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, that's interesting to see. What's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen the next day? What's going to happen week 1? What's going to happen week 2? Because we really don't know yet. But time will tell. What else do I want to talk about? I didn't see anything about Tyler Bass today. I don't know if he kicked, but I would assume he kicked. I saw him in the golfing video. Hopefully he's okay for the season. Different number this year. Jim Leonard said good things about Ed Oliver. Wants him to be kind of the one-on-one guy. Just being a menace. He thinks that he's going to be able to create space for him. He's going to be able to create one-on-one matchups for Ed Oliver on an offensive guard, which I think is probably the best bet. I think him in the 3-tech or 5-tech is just nasty, dude. I don't think he's not a 1-tech, which he's been playing. But if you put him in the 3 or 5 or like in the 6, 5-eye, 6, I think it's a wrap, dude. I feel like he is stronger than expected and faster than expected, so they're not going to expect a punch when he comes off. To the secondary, I mean, who will start at safety alongside Colt Bishop? Is it going to be C.J. Gardner-Johnson or Geno Stone? And then, or even Jalen Kilgore from South Carolina, who they just drafted this year. And like, how much big nickel will the Bills be running this season? Ryan Pagnetti, who was on WGR 2 weeks ago, posted something where like the Bills were the least big nickel used team in the league. But I feel we might see something different this year, especially with what we have and the amount of safety talent and depth we have. And again, we don't have Taron Johnson. It's not the same slot nickel guy that you had for the past 8 seasons. It's D. Alford, or you're gonna put in a safety as a big nickel. You're gonna put, maybe I would assume, Kilgore or C.J. Gardner-Johnson, put him down and then move someone up. But that will be interesting to see. It will be because I don't think they're gonna be able to just run the base nickel with what they have right now. Their corners aren't really their strong suit. Besides Benford, the big question people are having, I don't know really why, is it going to be Max Harrison or IGB who starts? And I don't think they're going to put IGB in there right away, but he's got the size, and the only downfall of him was pass interference and holding penalties at Ohio State in his senior season. So if he can fix that, and you don't really see that many handsy calls in the NFL, you can be a little bit more handsy as a DB, especially when you're a little bit bigger. But I mean, it'll be interesting because I don't really think Max Harrison got the good chances last year. He got hurt in training camp, and then he got hurt later in the season when he came back before the playoffs, which sucked. So yeah, I mean, I would probably hope it'd be Max Harrison. I don't really want to start a rookie corner week 1. I mean, Houston, it might be okay, but Detroit, can he guard Jameson Williams? Could he guard Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't know. So I'd rather just stick with the steady hand guy who's had some reps. I mean, it wasn't too many reps, but it was reps. And then the other question is, who's going to be the standout rookie? I mean, you didn't really hear much today, but there was Skylar Bell staying after practice with Josh Allen. I'm sure there were probably more than just Josh Allen and Skylar Bell there. Usually you see 2 or 3 more guys staying after. Josh sometimes liked to throw. You saw him in the Hard Knocks last year throwing with Josh Palmer the fade routes in Hard Knocks at training camp. So really interesting to see who will be the standout rookie for the Bills this season. All right, thank you for listening. Let's see what happens in day 2.